I'm Frankie Terriot-Stutz, and I'm joined by Hugh Lochore, the course designer here at Copper Meadows for the Copper Meadows International Horse Trials here this weekend. And Hugh, we've got a lot of excitement planned over the course of the weekend, and 3 international divisions as well as some championships happening here this weekend at Copper.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot to think about when you've got the internationals, the championships, and the national classes, and 7 different divisions as well, all on this nice little postage stamp. It's going to be an action-packed weekend.
Well, you and I spoke earlier in the year when you came to design here for the first time, just a little bit about the terrain here, and the terrain will play a factor, believe it or not. As much as this is really a small piece of land in the big scheme of things, it does come into play as we see the course unfold.
Yeah, I think as I said in June that I was led to believe this was quite a flat piece. It is pretty flat. There's no mountain in the middle of it, but there are a lot of features here, a lot of topographical sort of changes that you can use, interestingly enough. So I think you can tire a horse quite quickly on this piece of ground. I think one of our challenges is actually to try and drop a couple of jumping efforts and extend the length of the course to make it feel like there is more open space there, so they actually have 200 or 300 yards of gallop at a time between fences. It would be easy to try and cram a whole lot in a small space. You actually need to lengthen the routes and get rid of some jumping efforts to give that perception of less perception of intensity. You want to iron out the intensity a bit, and I think we've got a slightly better. We've done it slightly better this week than we did in June, and we've got a long way to go to get it right.
All right, well, we'll go out and take a look at those courses that Hugh's talking about. Take a look. On the Professionals Choice CIC 3-Star Division course, there'll be 3 galloping fences, and then they'll be here at 4A behind us. And Hugh, always kind of a question from a design standpoint of when to put that first combination on the course.
Yeah, I like the intensity to come early. Certainly the first 3 or 4 fences want to come in pretty sharp succession, and then you can open them up into that sort of gallopy, try and get them attacking. So therefore, inevitably, you're going to end up fence 3 or fence 4 with your first combination that is not necessarily the trickiest in the book. It's a bit more of a gymnastic test, make sure they've got the turning skills right. So here we've got, I think it's a 7-stride bending line between A and B with a little bit of an interspace. 1 or 2 more like 2-star type question, but early in the course on the 3-star before we open them up.
And these boulders you'll see all throughout Copper Meadows really are one of the signature things here. Riders kind of come to expect to see them, and for those championship divisions, especially beginner, novice training, they really actually come into play more than you'd think as far as being spooky for horses.
Yeah, I think that, I was warned about that, the horses spooking at the rocks, and it's important for us to use the features here, though. It's obviously, you can't hide behind, well, you can hide behind them, but you can't hide from the fact that these beautiful boulders, they're quite a spectacular piece of sort of art in the middle of the field. So yeah, we try and wind our way through them, and again, because of their spookiness for the younger horses, we don't get too carried away with what we're asking in amongst the boulders.
All right, well, we'll continue on and see the rest of the 3-star course. The Shire's Equestrian CIC 1-Star Division, the Western Underground CIC 2-Star Division, and the Professionals Choice CIC 3-Star Division all go through this complex, and it will definitely play a factor come Saturday here. And Hugh, some familiar obstacles and then some new ones here.
Yeah, a new one in the 3-star. Quite excited about getting a water splash, well, it's just a single jumping effort, nothing too demanding in the 3-star. But early on at fence 8, again, to get their feet wet early on in the course, it does mean that we've got 3 water jumps on the course this time, because we're using this one twice, and it's a big ass fence, this thing. It's a big spread in the water. They've got to really come in and forget there's water there at all. Just ride it like it was a table out in the middle of the field. It's called the Cascade. It's actually maximum intermediate dimensions, but out of water to water should prove quite a test for them. But without the complexity, it's just a big fence. Now the 1-star and the 2-star haven't changed much here at all, fairly similar to last time. The 2-star fence caused a bit of chat and rode very well, so we kept it the same as it was before, the bounce.
Hugh referencing a bounce here in the water for that 2-star, and like you said, lots of riders just worried about that coming into it and how to ride it with the water elements playing a factor.
They did, and I think, I don't know how they all rode it particularly differently, but it rode well. That's all we know. It painted good pictures. I didn't see anyone having particularly much trouble here. You got nice rising ground coming out of the water, which sets them up, gets them light in front. So jumping into the bounce, they jumped in really well, and it put them on the right spot for the second element. So it was a good picture.
The 3-star division will also encounter a bounce here as well.
Later on in the course, it's the next water jump, but it's sort of fence 15, I think it is, on the course. It's similar to what it was in June. Again, it comes off a turn, bouncing down into the water, a traditional bounce of logs. And it rode really nicely, so should give them a good feel.
All right, and then just real quick, touch a little bit on the 1-star here.
1-star, yeah, corner coming out of the water. That's pretty unusual in a 1-star, and it caught 1 or 2 of them out in June. I wonder whether 1 or 2 of them have learned a little bit from the line that they take. It's very, very possible to square up the leading edge of this corner. A lot of them just came a little bit loosey-goosey through the water and left the door open for themselves. So I think with as many run-outs as it had last time, I wasn't going to change it because it caused lots of run-outs. I think it was down to a little bit of horsemanship, and they need to. Yeah, I shouldn't say that, they have every opportunity to close that door for themselves, and so I just left it the way it was. Hopefully we won't have so many run-outs this time. They'll learn.
Well, as Hugh kind of referenced, these riders that we're going to see here this weekend, a lot of them getting ready to decide what they're going to do for the rest of the season. And this show is going to play a big part in a lot of those plans. You'll see some of these riders getting ready to head to Texas for the AEC. Some other ones will be making their way to Fair Hill. And then finally, the ones who choose to stay here on the West Coast for the remainder of the season will be deciding whether or not they go and contest the CIC divisions at Woodside or head straight to Galway Downs. So lots of decisions will be made after this weekend, and these courses that Hugh's designing will certainly play a role in those. Here at 11AB on the Professional's Choice CIC 3-star, this is a new combination, and riders will really need to kind of have a game plan coming into these brush fences.
Yeah, we obviously need to slightly beef up the 3-star, give them some proper 3-star tests, and this ditch and brush that we're in here was always here. I just wanted to put a slight bending line, 3-stride slight bending line. You can't bend too much on 3, but to another ditch and brush. So it takes a lot of lining up, a lot of commitment, as it's quite a long 3, so they're going to want to realize they're going at 570 pace and ride it strongly. It's a strong stride.
Well, for these ditch and brush, just talk a little bit about, from the design standpoint, they're open underneath, and we don't see that as commonly as brush fences kind of being filled in underneath. So the design elements and the choices to do that here.
Yeah, I think it's a 3-star. We're at the advanced level here. There's obviously there's an obvious wall to jump. We've been very kind in the last 10 years on filling out, giving bellies and making things more forgiving and rounder profiles and all the rest of it. And there is a movement at the top end of the sport, not to get ugly again, but just to get back to basic cross-country course design, there's an element of horsemanship in this sport, and we have to get back to asking the riders a question as well as so long as we're not trying to confuse the horses. So here there was some brush sticking out underneath these fences in the past. This year this event we took that away. It's still quite an obvious test, but yeah, there's that element of being able to see right through it to scare them a bit.
All right, well, riders will want to make sure they have the gas pedal down, as you said, and try to get this combination done in 3. And it will be a great angle to watch come Saturday. Well, here at 12 ABC, riders are going to again encounter some more angles. And last time, Hugh, these angles actually proved to be quite tough. I'm not sure if it was how they came down the hill or kind of the different elements they encountered, but why did you think we saw the different various difficulties here last time?
Because it's a tough jump. I mean, yeah, there's a line to it, and those that overjumped A and didn't get the line to B and C maybe came to grief. But it's a very legitimate 3-star question. You don't see B and C, your line through B and C, until after you've landed over A, and that goes from the 2-star to the 3-star complexity. I'm hoping that our big double brushes that we've just had before this, that it's a slight left-hand bending line, strong attacking distance. Here you've got the same thing. You've got to be committed to this. You've got to be committed to A line, and having just jumped 11 AB nicely, hopefully, we're going to come to 12 ABC and get a much more positive ride through it. Those that jump 11 AB badly might not have so much fun going through here. There is room to get out of jail here. You can make a mess of it and get away with it, but there's a very comfortable line to be had if they get it right.
Well, it certainly seems like on all courses, obviously at this level, but especially here, for whatever reasons, at Copper Meadows, we really see that communicative kind of build up throughout the courses. And there's, people maybe have a little bit of an issue early on and it doesn't hit them. And then, later on, it really catches them out. And this seems to be kind of maybe one of the areas on the course where it's far enough in the course that if they've had some things happen towards the beginning, the horses here are kind of really not willing to play the game anymore.
Totally, and that's part of course design. I try and incorporate that into courses wherever I can. People will say, well, we didn't, it got better as the round went on, and then I had trouble at fence 15, damn it. And the reality is you had trouble before that, and you had a run out at 15 because you made a mess of fence 4, 5, and 6. So there is a knock-on effect throughout the round, and sometimes you are warming them up for fences, maybe slightly more technical fences in the middle to the end of the course, with an easier version of the same thing earlier on in the course. So there's that sort of, someone said to me once, it's like reading a book. You've got a beginning, a middle, and end. Well, there's lots of things in life, the beginning, middle, and end, but you can read your way through a course, and there's a lot of setup at the beginning that relates to stuff in the middle and towards the end of the course.
Well, these fences always play a factor, as we were talking about, and there'll definitely be combinations that you want to watch on Cross Country Day, because we would guess, again, that these combinations will certainly determine who goes home at the top of that leaderboard and who might not. This will be the last water feature that riders encounter here, and Hugh, this water hasn't changed greatly, but it definitely is interesting and a lot to see with the keyhole here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the previous two water jumps, the technicality has been the bounce going into the water and the wedge coming out. This is more of a bold end of the course, kick on in, kick on through the keyhole and ride on at a corner. So they're related, but they're spaced out beyond any sort of stride pattern, if you like. Yeah, I think they should just get a really good feel through here, brush and big fences.
And the table coming in, it's a little bit bigger than I think a lot of people thought maybe earlier in June. I think that we saw riders come in and get a little surprised at the landing of the table and then kind of regroup and kick up the hill to this.
Yeah, it jumps big. It took me by surprise too. It doesn't measure big, but the horses jump it very big. And the drop, I mean, there's about a foot drop on the back side, which makes it close to 5 foot dropping in. And yeah, it rode pretty big. And that can affect your stride pattern as you come to the keyhole. If any of them are actually looking to get 6 here, then the how you jump in over the first element can definitely affect that.
All right, well, forward riding water, this one's always fun to watch, and through the keyhole makes it even more exciting. And just real quick, touching on the Western Underground CIC 2-star water here. Again, the jump in, riding a little bit bigger than I think riders thought in June, and then they come up the the bank here and have the one stride off, and then, you know, it's just an upright out.
A bit more gymnastic in the 2-star, four-part combination. With the wedge going out, which the 3-star have earlier on in the water. So, but you could argue that it's technically more challenging in the 2-star here than it is the 3-star.
And then just, you know, quickly as well, the 1-star, we see some angles here for them that are behind us, and not always seeing those in the water for 1-star division. No,
quite unusual to see water to water at all at preliminary level, and then at 1-star you might stick a water to water in. Well, we just decided to stick 2 in. So, and it caused some chat in June, but I think generally speaking it rode pretty well. We're glad not to be putting the regular prelims over it. It's definitely a strong 1-star question. So it's been tried and tested, and it worked out, so we left it the way it was.
All right, well, a big division here for the Shire Equestrian CIC 1-star division, so lots of horses to watch for that division as well, and we look forward to seeing them all compete here at this water complex. Real combination on the courses is behind us, and Hugh, if you made it to this point, that's definitely a good sign in your day, but your day's not over yet, and some riders tend to take these last combinations for granted, and we see a little bit of scary riding at the end. Horses can be long, flat, a little bit tired, so what it's going to take to really get this done properly and get home.
Yeah, I think what we have done this time over June, and possibly what was going on here before, is we've managed to lengthen the course. We've got a 3,700 meter or close to 3,700 meter course, so that now the fitness does come into play. It is still middle to the end of the season, so these horses should be fit. So you might have a slightly tiring horse at this point. The turn into it, all we're really after at this point is making sure they don't just gallop all the way home. They've had a couple of big tables before this. They're not going to get all the way to the finish without being asked a question. The turn into it definitely sets them up. It slows them down. It gets them back focused and back together. And but then a reasonably strong stride going through the combination. With a tiring horse, they tend to take a slightly bigger stride anyway. So it's straight. The turn in is the setup, and then once they're turned and set up, they can just keep moving. And you're not trying to yank them around too much at the second last. You're just trying to give them that setup to the finish.
Well, a similar thing here for the Western Underground CIC 2-star division, and they're also going to come into the combination off of a turn, which should help them, but also just having a game plan and being able to use that gearbox a little bit here.
Yeah, use that turn, and it's a slightly different question putting a corner before a bunker than a bunker before a corner. If you're in the 3-star, you've got the bunker where if you make a little bit of a mistake that you mess up your line to the technical, which is the corner. Whereas the 2-star, we start with the corner, so they get to ride that and make sure they get that bit right. If they mess that bit up, it's slightly easier to get to the bunker on a bad stride. So the technicality is definitely erring on the side of the 3-star here.
All right, well, we'll head over to the finish and get final thoughts from Hugh there. Well, the finish line is behind us, and all those international division riders are going to be looking for that on Saturday, certainly. And Hugh, just to get it done here, overall thoughts on these courses?
Yeah, I like the flow. I'm pretty happy the way we've opened it up. As I say, the 1 and the 2-star haven't changed much at all. We've got a new loop and 4 or 5 new fences in the 3-star, so that'll make a difference. It's just a step towards where we want to get to. I think the bigger picture, we haven't really had a plan these first 2 events, but I think the bigger picture sees us working to maybe a 2-year plan, the next 4 or 5 events, really working towards, I guess, putting my stamp on it, but also opening it up and making it. You've got to keep moving forward. If you're not going forwards, you're going backwards. And I think trends change, theories change. I mean, some of the fences might not ride well this weekend. You never know. So you've always got to be trying to improve and get better. And we've got some good ideas moving forward that are going to take us a year or 2 to implement.
Well, some very exciting things coming in the future, not just this weekend here at Copper, and championship divisions, like I said earlier, being back here, which is really fun for those riders. Beginner, novice through preliminary, we'll see their championships held here for Area 6 this weekend, and a lot of great riders coming out for that. So very, very exciting to get to watch all of the developments here at Copper Meadows as they continue to improve on the courses and do things like move the start box location and some other things we haven't seen before. Them recently obviously purchasing some of the land over here as well, and really making some great additions. So we look forward to a really fun day of cross country, and thanks so much for joining us, Hugh.
Thank you, Frankie.